when I get a chance to meet you, you're good people. This radio station has a lot of great people that listen to it. I want to try something this morning. I'm just for my own edification, because the first couple text messages I got this morning were just negative, 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 negative. Hey, fine. You can walk around being negative all day long. I don't care. I choose not to live my life being bitter. I hope you don't as well. So I'm going to ask you to do something this morning. Send me a text message, 833-804-1140. I'm going to keep this up all morning long. 833-804-1140. What's the last good deed that you did for somebody? What's the last good deed you did to make this a better place? I told you the story last week. I saw this kid, car broke down on West Broad. Traffic's backed up, like 20 cars deep. People are honking at him. I came around him. I saw he was just panicked. He didn't know what to do. So I pulled around, pulled into a parking lot, jumped out of my car, got out, helped push his car. And as I started pushing his car, other people jumped in. By the time we were done, and I told you the kid just didn't know what he was doing, we ended up pushing the car like 2 blocks. But other people had got there and pushed. They didn't ask who he was. They didn't ask who he voted for. They didn't ask what party he was registered to. We just saw a kid that needed help getting his car out of the street. So a bunch of people that didn't know each other will probably never see each other again. And if they walk down the street and say, hey, do you remember we pushed that car? They're not going to remember who I am. But we all got out and did something as a good deed. Tell me this morning at 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140, what's the last good deed that you did? What's the last good deed that you did? I want to hear this morning on Richmond's Morning News, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140, the number for you to join us. And again, you can watch us. I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulty this morning, but we're working on that right now. But you can hear us, of course, on 96.1 FM. You can hear us on the app. You can watch us now on YouTube and Facebook at News Radio WRVA. So help me out this morning. Just let's start Monday with a good thought. What's the last good deed that you did for somebody? Whether it's somebody you know, somebody you didn't know, just some random act of kindness. What was it? Share it with me this morning if you would. I would really appreciate if you would. I'd really like to hear that. 833-804-1140. All right, let's get to Richmond's Morning News Brief. Here's the 5 stories we're working on this morning for you here on News Radio WRVA.
Number 1.
All right, first big story of the day. The United States and Iran have come to an agreement, a ceremony to sign a memorandum of understanding. An MOU will take place this Friday in Switzerland. Who will sign? We'll wait to see. The president's actually on his way to France for the G7. As you heard on the news, the report from Fox, you'll also have some Middle East partners that'll be coming into the G7 to talk about what's going on right now in the world. We'll watch to see that. But here's what's going to happen. The Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. The blockade of Iran will cease. We'll start getting the flow of oil back and forth. The Iranians will ask for relief from some of the frozen assets they have, trying to get back on their feet economically. The U.S. is going to hold that off. But the president says, bottom line is, they will not have a nuke. We'll discuss a little bit with Brian Kilmeade, we hope, coming up in about an hour. We'll try to check in with him. I know he's very busy this morning on television, but it's great news. And if you drive down the road today, if I drove down West Broad on my way to work, I noticed all but one gas station, gasoline was under $4 a gallon. You're starting to see the price of oil drop down to $85 a barrel on the news that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. And Iran, now this is going to be interesting, Iran's oil had been sanctioned. Once the sanctions go off, it goes into the worldwide market, which means we'll have even more supply of oil with Iran now coming back with some kind of normalization when they sell their oil, which should help the price of oil fall even more once all this gets worked out. But the devil's in the details. We'll see. Will Iran hold up their end of the bargain? Will they try to change things at the last minute? We'll see. But right now, the world waiting Friday for this deal to get signed. That's our big story of the morning. Story number 2. Well, we might have missed this at the end of the week because when they finally had the press conference, we were actually off the air. But Virginia is being sued by the Justice Department That's our second big story of the morning.
Number 2.
All right, Abigail Spanberger and the House of Delegates and the Senate and the General Assembly passed a sweeping immigration policy bill. I fought against it. I spoke up against it here on Richmond's Morning News. Now, the Justice Department will push back as well. The law said that ICE agents are not allowed to wear face coverings in the Commonwealth of Virginia. How in the world that the Commonwealth of Virginia thinks they can tell federal officers how to do their job? The feds are pushing back. Justice Department pushing back, suing the state of Virginia over this. Hey, good. Todd Blanche, go get them. The fact that we're demonizing and vilifying these ICE officers is a joke, especially when you have a governor that ran on a platform of, oh, I'm in law enforcement. I'm a federal officer. Vote for me because you could trust me because I was a federal officer. And then you turn around and you say these other federal officers, well, they're not trustworthy at all. We'll talk about that coming up on Richmond's Morning News. All right, story number 3. I'm a little tired this morning. I'm going to be honest. As soon as the show's over, I'm going straight home and going back to bed because I stayed up late, way past my bedtime, to watch UFC Freedom 250 last night from the south lawn of the White House.
Number 3.
All right, last night, UFC Freedom 250. It was delayed by an hour because the rainstorms that came through Richmond were on their way to D.C., but they finally got the card going. This is going to be a big topic of discussion this morning on Richmond's Morning News. The No Kings people had an event where they had tickets that cost $330 to sit in the front row to see Jane Fonda and a bunch of people that have been way past their prime perform. Here, this is just two versions of America. You tell me which one you like. The one where the American people are able to see a spectacle on the White House. If UFC is not your cup of tea, I get it. But did you see the throngs of people that showed up for the UFC fight? You made it an everyman event at the White House. The elites, they stood there and complained. I go with the American people that showed up for UFC. I thought it was pretty neat. The one guy I know that was fighting, Michael Chandler, got knocked out pretty quick. People were popping off at me on social media over that. But it takes something to get in that octagon. It took something to put on that show. It took something to put on an event like that. And the fact that so many people were there, so many people wanted to see it, even with the threatening rain, I know they did the right thing by putting on that event. I say bully for them. Next up, I just learned we're going to have a rodeo in the National Mall. I will be there for that with my Stetson and boots on. I hope you go as well. That's our third story. Fourth story of the morning. Well, the state budget still has an impasse. That's our fourth story this morning on Richmond's Morning News.
Number 4.
Okay. This is getting to be a joke. I didn't realize that the committee that's supposed to be working on this hasn't gotten together since, are you ready for this? March. Wow, that's some great leadership on the Democratic side. You've got the committee that's supposed to work from the House and the Senate on our budget in Virginia, and you guys haven't gotten together as an entire committee since March. Good job. Way to govern the Commonwealth of Virginia Democratic Party. All right, so now the House puts out their version of what they want the budget to be. Oh, guess what? We found an extra $1.5 billion we're going to spend. If you could find an extra $1.5 billion, how about getting rid of my car tax? How about getting rid of some of the taxes I pay? You're able to find $1.5 billion for your pet project. How about giving that $1.5 billion you didn't know you had back to the people you took it from? This whole thing is a joke, and we'll expose it even more this morning on Richmond's Morning News. And finally, our fifth big story of the morning. The champions have been crowned in the NBA and the NHL. That's story number 5.
Number 5.
All right. In case you missed it, the NBA Finals are over. The New York Knicks come from behind. What a ball game. Saturday, they win down in San Antonio. They are the champions of the NBA. We'll talk again about that. I got a couple guests that we're trying to line up for that this morning. Also, La Ligue Nationale de la Hockey. Last night, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals down in Raleigh. The Carolina Hurricanes are the champions of hockey. Congratulations to both. And then the World Cup got started this morning as well. So there you go. That's our top 5 stories we're working on this morning for Richmond's Morning News. Michael Greer will stop by a little bit later. We're working on making sure we can get Brian Kilmeade in this morning. We have a whole lot to get to. But again, I'm going to start a little bit different on this Monday. Tell me something nice. Tell me something nice, something little, something big. I don't care what it is. But give me something. Give me something this morning, a good deed that you did. And I'm going to read them this morning on Richmond's Morning News. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Let's start the week on a positive note, shall we? 833-804-1140 is the James River Air text line. All right, let's talk a little bit about your future and your retirement. What? You're not